What's up guys, Ryan here, treadawaytraining.com, and in this video we're going to talk about a question I received on Facebook the other day. I had someone ask me about rep ranges for muscle growth and for strength gains. So is there a best rep range that accomplishes both, or do you have to hit those separately, or how does that work? And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, but before we get into that, I have an announcement for you guys. One thing that I've been praying a lot about lately and thinking a lot about lately is how I could better serve my audience. I know not everybody has the financial means to hire a coach, but that doesn't mean just because you aren't financially able to have a coach, that doesn't mean that you don't still need help. So how could I help more people without having to charge? And what I've come up with is an ebook that I've thrown up on the screen. You can see it there. What I've done is I've simplified the process that I use to create nutrition plans for my clients. I've simplified it into 3 easy steps and put it in a super short, easy to read 4-page ebook. And you can read that and you'll be able to set up your own fat loss diet so that you can finally get that dream body that you've always wanted. So you can shred fat and get lean once and for all. All you have to do is go down to the description below. There's a link down there. You click that link, it'll take you to my website, and you'll put in your email address, hit the little button, and the ebook will be sent straight to your email address. And you might be wondering what the catch is. And the only catch is that if you put your email address in, I will send you an email once a week, and it'll contain the most recent blog post, and it will contain the most recent YouTube video. And that's it. I don't want to take up much of your time. I'll just send you a weekly kind of a newsletter email, and then you'll know what's going on with Treadaway Training. And if at any point in time you don't want that email anymore, all you have to do is hit unsubscribe and you won't see it anymore. So really there's no catch. It's just I want to be able to provide more value, more information to you guys. Now let's get into the video. A couple weeks ago I made a video about high reps versus low reps for building muscle. And this will be kind of sort of a follow-up video to that one. So if you want to check that out and you haven't already, you can click up in the card up at the top. Now there's one term that we need to define in order to understand everything that we're about to talk about, and that is volume. For the purposes of this video, we're going to define volume as the number of sets that you do for a muscle group times the number of reps per set. So let's do an example. Let's say we're doing squats and we do 5 sets of 10 reps. So you do 5 times 10 and that comes out to be 50 total reps. So that's 50 reps of volume. So basically what we're looking at here is the total reps in this scenario. Now, why is that important? Well, studies have shown that as long as the total volume is the same, then the people in the different groups of rep ranges tend to get similar muscle growth results. So people doing the 1 to 5 rep range get similar muscle growth results to the 8 to 12 rep range, get similar results to the 12 to 15 rep range, as long as the total number of reps that they're performing are similar. So really you can do pretty much any rep range and get muscle growth. Now the one caveat I will say here is that if you go too high on the spectrum, then you're not going to get as good of results because you're simply not going to be putting enough overload on the muscle, enough tension on the muscle to cause any sort of adaptation. So we'll think about it this way. We'll say, I grab this pencil right here and I do 1,000 curls with it. I just sit here and pump it, do 1,000 curls. We both know in our heads that that's not going to do anything. We both know that that's not going to produce any type of muscle growth because this tiny amount of weight here is not going to produce enough tension on the muscle. It's not going to produce enough overload on the muscle to actually cause any type of adaptation. So the one caveat to what I said about hitting any rep range to promote muscle growth, you can't just keep going higher and higher on the rep range. So unless we're doing a specific type of training like blood flow restriction, which we won't get into here, we're going to keep it below 25 reps. And I would go as far as to say even 15 or below for your normal everyday training. Now strength on the other hand is a different story. Strength is a lot more specific than muscle growth. In order to get stronger at a certain rep range, you need to do that rep range. So if you're wanting to get stronger at doing 10 reps, you need to do 10 reps. If you want to get stronger at doing 1 rep maxes, so let's say you're a power lifter or an Olympic lifter or something like that, and you want to get stronger at 1 rep, then you have to do sets of 1 rep or sets of around 1 rep, so 1 to 5 rep range. And you might hear that and say, okay, well, I want to get stronger and I want to get bigger, so I'm just going to do 1 to 5 reps all the time. I'm going to stay in that super low rep range always, and that's what I'm going to do from now to the end of time. And there's a couple things that I would warn you about there. There's a couple reasons why that would be a bad idea to stay in the 1 to 5 rep range all the time. And the first, which is very practical, is time. Think about it. In the example I gave you a minute ago, so let's say we're aiming for 50 reps. This is just, an arbitrary made up number. So let's say we're aiming for 50 reps. If we do 10 reps per set, then we only have to do 5 sets to get to that target amount of total reps that we're aiming for. And if we're doing sets of 1, on the other hand, we have to do 50 sets in order to get to that 50 rep mark. So you can kind of see how the lower you go on the rep range, how your time in the gym just goes through the roof. So while yes, you do need to do low reps to get stronger at low reps, you also have to balance that with your time availability in the gym. And the second reason why that might not be a good idea is that in the same studies that I was just mentioning to you, where there was similar muscle growth between the low and moderate and high rep groups, the lowest rep groups also suffered more occurrence of injury. So you think about it, if your form isn't just perfect with 135 pounds on your back doing a squat, the chances of you hurting yourself from that is a lot lower than if you mess something up and you have 500 pounds on your back. So the chances of injury go way up the longer you stay in that low rep group. And this is kind of where that magical, that 6 to 12 rep range comes into play. And it's really not magical, it's just practical. Let's think about it. So we can do, any rep range within reason and still get bigger. But time is also a consideration. So we need to do weights that provide a sufficient enough overload in order to put the stress on the muscles needed to grow. And we also want to get stronger, so we can do the lower rep ranges, but at the same time, we only have a certain amount of time in the gym. So if we do that 6 to 12 rep range, then we can accomplish these things in a shorter amount of time. So we're able, it's kind of a in the middle rep range that allows you to balance how much weight you're lifting and how many reps you're doing per set, which allows you to get the total number of reps you're wanting to accomplish done in a shorter amount of time. So let's end this video with a couple of specific recommendations. So we want to balance the rep ranges that we're targeting. So let's say your primary goal is strength. You would like to get bigger, but the main thing you care about is getting stronger. In this case, we will take your total reps and we will put 2/3 to 3/4 of those into that 1 to 5 rep range category. And then the rest of your total reps that you'll do will be outside of that rep range. So this can be, the 6 to 12 or 12 to 15 or 15 to 20. You can kind of distribute those amongst those different rep ranges, but still the majority of your work will be in that lower rep range category. And if your primary goal is muscle growth and you kind of sort of care about strength, but it's not the most important goal to you, then what we would do is we would stick to that, magical 6 to 12 rep range for 2/3 to 3/4 of the time. And then we would take the rest of our total reps, or the rest of our total volume, and we would sprinkle that in on both sides of that. So we would do some sets that are on the low end of the spectrum, that 1 to 5, and then we would do some reps that are above that, so the 12 to 15, 15 to 20 rep range. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Remember to download that ebook if you're interested in that. Make sure to get that down below. I'll put it as the first link. And if you have any questions, then leave them in the comments or shoot me a message on Facebook or whatever. Let me know your questions and I'll be happy to make a video about them. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that YouTube lets you know when I post a new video. I will be back Sunday on the Treadaway Training blog with another fat loss topic. As always, God bless you and your family, and I'll see you Sunday.